This is the weirdest thing that's ever got my bag pulled at security. Not my liquids, not my electronics, this. So if you want to know how to breeze through airport security or TSA, here's what not to pack, as well as a few helpful tips to get through as smooth as possible. By the way, I'm filming some of this at home because it's a little tricky to film in airport security. If your carry-on is so tightly packed that it could double as a kettlebell, we've got a problem. Bags that are overly full are harder to scan and way more likely to get pulled for inspection. This happened to me when I had a stack of bobby pins bunched together at the bottom of a jam-packed bag. This was back in the days when I was a severe overpacker. No judging, please. The scanner couldn't quite tell what it was, it just showed up as a solid, suspicious-looking clump. I've also seen this with people who just toss jewelry into their bag without organizing it. If it's just a tangled mass of metal inside a dense bag, the scanner can't quite tell what's what. A small travel jewelry organizer works wonders for this, or even a simple pill case. The same goes for cables. One or two is no big deal, but if it looks like a tech spaghetti explosion, expect your bag to be flagged. For this, try separating your cords or downsizing what you need to bring by sticking to devices that use the same charger. USB-C across the board is a game changer. You want to use compression wisely, not aggressively. Your goal isn't to vacuum seal your clothes, it's to stay as organized as possible without turning your bag into a black hole. Now, I swear by packing cubes, they keep things neat, easy to shift around, and if TSA does need to inspect your stuff, they're not digging through a mess. But even packing cubes can work against you if you're a little too aggressive with it, especially if you're rolling thick fabrics like wool or silk. If they're compressed too tightly, they can actually show up as dense blocks on the scanner and trigger a manual check. In a lot of airports, the 3-1-1 rule still applies. 3.4 ounces or 100 milliliters or less per container, all in a clear quart-sized bag. And yes, you need to take it out at security, unless you've got TSA pre-check or Nexus or equivalent. Forgetting this almost always means a bag check, or worse, your favorite face serum ending up in the trash. Keep your liquids in a bag in an outer pocket or right on top of your personal item so you can grab it without having to dig around. Most of us aren't trying to break the TSA rules, we just forget weird little edge cases. Souvenirs are one of the biggest offenders. Coming out from Portugal, I watched so many people get their sardine tins confiscated because if they're over 100 milliliters or 100 grams, they count as a liquid. Another time, I brought back a wine bottle stopper. It went through the scanner and apparently it looked like a weapon. I got pulled aside for a bag check. It did end up being fine, they let me keep it, but it just goes to show even totally innocent items can get flagged. For other souvenirs, the biggest thing that will get your bag flagged for extra screening is extremely dense items. I've heard this can happen with bars of soap. Personally, I travel with 1 or 2 bars of soap usually, but if you're buying them as souvenirs and you're bringing back several of them and you have them stacked, that could also show up as a dense block in the scanner. My pro tip is to pack souvenirs near the top of your bag, so if something does get flagged, the screening officer doesn't have to go on a treasure hunt. Snow globes are another big one. They're only allowed in your carry-on if they're smaller than 100 milliliters, roughly the size of a tennis ball. So if you're going to some Christmas markets in Europe, keep this in mind. Oh, and sometimes it's not even your bag, it's your outfit. Here's a story. About 13 years ago when sock buns were trending, I had one in my hair and TSA stopped me because they couldn't identify this object that was my bun in my hair. So the screening officer had to literally squeeze my hair to confirm it was just foam. Probably something you don't have to worry about now because those aren't really on trend, but I like sharing stories of what actually happened to me so that you can find them useful for your future travels. So my pro tip here is to use TSA's What Can I Bring tool. It's really, really handy. If you don't have pre-check, you'll usually need to remove laptops and sometimes tablets from your bag. And if yours is buried under layers of sweaters and snacks, you're gonna be that person holding up the line. Just place your electronics near the top of your bag or in a dedicated tech sleeve. This applies to lithium batteries too. They can show up as solid black masses on the scanner, and they often get flagged. If you have spares, just pull them out ahead of time. For an even smoother TSA process, put all of your electronics in a clear bag or even a Ziploc bag. That way, you can just pull that bag out with your earbuds, chargers, power bank, cords, Kindle, and anything else and put it in the tray. If you're someone who travels with a lot of electronics or a bunch of small electronics, this can save you a ton of time. It's also useful for getting your things when you're on the plane. A big pro tip is if you have to take your shoes off, make them the last thing that goes through the scanner. You're not going to walk away without your shoes, but if you put them on first, there is a chance you might forget something valuable, like your laptop. One of the easiest ways to breeze through airport security is to get yourself a bag that's built for it. And one of my go-tos is the bento bag by Nomad Lane, who I'm really excited to partner with as the sponsor of today's video. It's specifically designed for air travel, and it shows. All you do in line is you just pull this off of your luggage, place this bag in a bin on the belt, and then you've got quick access to all the things that you do need to pull out. Like your laptop is right here, and then you've got the 2 front pockets where you can pull out your toiletries and your tech items like your power bank. I'm always talking about how important it is to have a quick access front pocket, and this bag is the perfect example of that. You can throw your earbuds in here, your pens, your passport, your wallet, and then as soon as you get to the airport, attach your keys to the key leash. In the security line, you just place the bag in the bin, unzip the laptop compartment, pop out the toiletry case, and you're good to go. There's even a hidden pocket where you can slip your phone in after scanning your boarding pass, so it's not just floating around in the tray on its own. And once you're through airport security, you might wonder if this bag is considered a personal item. And yes, on many airlines it is. As long as it's not too crazy full, you will absolutely get this in. I have a laptop in here. See? Laptop. I have clothes. This is not an empty bag. I've got my toiletries in here. Cords. Nomad Lane sent us their newest pink color to test out, but we've had the green version for a while and absolutely love flying with it. It's designed to fit on most North American flights. And it does, including on Air Canada, which has a notoriously small sizer, as well as many other airlines. Not all airports are created equal. Different countries, different screening lanes, even different days can mean different rules. All have slightly different procedures, and even more common is that they have different technology. On my trip to Portugal, I had a layover at Charles de Gaulle in Paris. If you've been, you already know. That airport is not exactly the model of efficiency. We had to go through security again, and it was my hair straightener that got flagged. I've flown with it dozens of times without issue, but this airport, with their scanners, apparently they needed to inspect it manually. Basically, don't assume what was fine at one airport is always going to work at the next. And keep in mind, screening procedures can change based on events that happened earlier that day. Sometimes a false alarm or a security concern can change the flow for everyone. So be kind to the TSA agents and screening officers. They're just doing their job, and the final call on what's allowed is always up to them. Tempting as it is to wrap gifts ahead of time, TSA will 100% unwrap them if they need to inspect the contents. So just bring your gifts unwrapped or use a gift bag instead. You can always wrap them once you arrive. You can definitely bring food, but some just don't scan as well. Cheese, dips, or anything with a dense paste-like consistency can show up as a suspicious blob. Peanut butter, by the way, that counts as a liquid, so it technically does have to follow the 3-1-1 rule. This one's not gonna fit. And if you're bringing home-prepped foods like a salad, just remember, dressing or moisture tends to separate and pool at the bottom of your container. So suddenly your pre-mixed salad might have a few tablespoons of dressing that's pooled at the bottom, and the screening officer may want to take a closer look. TSA doesn't really care how many bags you have, but your airline definitely does. So if you're juggling a roller, a backpack, a tote, and a purse, it's gonna be a bit of a problem. Either at the gate or even trying to get through the scanner if your stuff doesn't fit neatly into the bin, and it's definitely gonna be a problem when you're at the gate. Just know your airline's bag policy and plan accordingly. At the end of the day, security lines aren't fun for anyone, but they don't have to be stressful. If you can, avoid these packing mistakes and you'll get through faster, calmer, and way less likely to end up with your underwear on display in front of a crowd. I'm curious, let me know in the comments, what's the weirdest or most random thing that ever got your bag pulled at airport security? And bonus points if it makes no sense. That's gonna be all for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
What's that first step?
Check that out.
It's like gum and buttons everywhere.
That is all the way in.
That's what she said.